Progressives in politics today advocate for a wide range of policies and values aimed at creating a more equitable, just, and sustainable society. Here is a list of what progressives in politics stand for today. Progressive politicians prioritize economic justice, aiming to address income and wealth inequality. They advocate for policies such as raising the minimum wage to a living wage, implementing progressive taxation to ensure the wealthy pay their fair share, and fighting for workers' rights, including the right to unionize and fair labor practices. Progressives support universal healthcare coverage, often advocating for a single-payer system or a public option. They believe that access to quality healthcare is a fundamental right and push for policies that ensure all individuals have access to affordable and comprehensive healthcare, regardless of their income or employment status. Addressing climate change is a top priority for progressives. They advocate for bold and ambitious measures to combat climate change, such as transitioning to renewable energy sources, investing in green infrastructure, implementing carbon pricing mechanisms, and promoting environmental justice to ensure marginalized communities are not disproportionately affected by environmental degradation. Progressives prioritize racial and social justice, aiming to dismantle systemic racism and promote equity and inclusion for all. They advocate for criminal justice reform, police accountability measures, ending mass incarceration, and addressing disparities in education, healthcare, housing, and employment that disproportionately affect communities of color. Progressives believe in the importance of accessible and high-quality education for all individuals, from early childhood through higher education. They support policies to increase funding for public schools, reduce student debt, make college tuition free or more affordable, and invest in vocational and technical training programs. Progressives advocate for comprehensive immigration reform that includes a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants, protections for dreamers, undocumented immigrants brought to the U.S. as children, and humane treatment of immigrants and refugees. They push back against anti-immigrant rhetoric and policies and promote immigrant rights and integration. Progressive politicians fight for the rights of workers, including the right to a living wage, safe working conditions, paid family and medical leave, and access to affordable childcare. They support policies to strengthen labor unions, combat wage theft and exploitation, and ensure fair treatment for all workers, regardless of their occupation or industry. Progressives seek to reduce the influence of big money in politics and promote campaign finance reform. They advocate for measures to increase transparency in political spending, limit the influence of corporate and wealthy donors, and empower grassroots movements and small-dollar donors in the political process. Progressive politicians prioritize diplomacy, international cooperation, and respect for human rights in foreign policy. They advocate for a more restrained and ethical approach to military intervention, support multilateral agreements and institutions, and oppose arms sales to authoritarian regimes. They also seek to address global issues such as poverty, inequality, and conflict through diplomacy and humanitarian aid. Progressives advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, including marriage equality, non-discrimination protections, and healthcare access. They support policies to address violence and discrimination against LGBTQ+ individuals, promote LGBTQ+ inclusion in schools and workplaces, and advance policies that affirm the rights and dignity of LGBTQ+ people. Overall, progressives in politics today are driven by a vision of a society where everyone has equal opportunities, rights, and dignity, regardless of their background or circumstances. They prioritize policies that uplift marginalized communities, protect the environment, and promote shared prosperity and well-being for all.